Okay, so I've been waiting for 3 or 4 days now for the sun to come out in New York so that I could get enough light to make this video. And I told a few people that I was going to an ayahuasca ceremony, but I didn't really broadcast it to the world. And to explain the experience, I felt like I needed to tell it in this manner, in this format, and be able to actually use my hands. And the experience had many lessons. I guess I can give you a synopsis of a couple of those lessons, and that was those lessons had a lot to do with being present. Some of you know, March 30th, I got this tattoo that says "now, here, or nowhere," and that's a reminder for me not only to be present, but also to not procrastinate and kind of get on with some things and keep it moving. And so intentions, you're meant to, I can go on and go off on tangents, so I have to pull myself back like I'm doing right now. Intentions. You're supposed to have your 4 intentions as per this ceremony. Come with your intentions. So for a week to 10 days leading up to this ceremony, I actually did keep a journal, and every night I set some intentions. And what I did the first night of the first ceremony, because it was a 2-part thing, is I took a synopsis of everything I had written down, and I made 4 more concise intentions, and I set them out as this. It was number 1 was to be connected to self. Second intention was to discover pathways. This was a big one for me. I was actually looking for this ceremony to show me a path, show me something I haven't been able to see, or a line of thinking I haven't been able to grasp yet. So discovering new pathways. Third was healing past traumas. One most recent, which would be the end of my engagement. I was engaged, that crashed and burned. It's a whole nother story. And then past traumas from childhood. Nothing grave. I wasn't a victim of any kind of childhood abuse or anything too crazy, but we all have stuff that happens to us when we're kids, and that affects us. And I had some things to work through. And last was to be a creator of things and a creator of self. And the intention was actually written to be a creator of things and self, to evolve constantly without pause, and to be present now, here, or nowhere. That was actually the last intention. So the first night I go into the first ceremony, and the ceremony starts, and the ayahuasca comes around, and now everyone's sitting quietly. We're actually in a teepee with a bunch of people in a circle around a fire in a teepee. So staring into the fire and being patient, being calm, and reciting my intentions and getting at it. Kind of, nothing seems to be happening. Guy to the left of me is purging. It's his 30th ceremony. Guy to the right of me has done it before, and he's purging, and I'm just don't seem to be having anything happen. Round 2 comes around. I don't know how much later it was, an hour, 2 hours. Round 2, the ayahuasca comes around. Okay, maybe I just need a little more. Round 2 comes around, same thing, a lot of other stuff happening around me. Nothing. I'm focusing on this damn fire, like thinking I need recite my intentions again, like stay focused. Leave the ceremony, which basically goes, getting in there, rolling in there about 10:30, and rolling out of there about 7 in the morning. So many hours go by and kind of get nothing. I let the shaman know, and obviously there's a whole bunch of us there. It was actually quite a big group. It was about 30 people, and so a lot of people have done it before, a lot of newbies, but tell 1 or 2 people. I did find that there were a few other people who kind of had the same experience, didn't really feel like they experienced anything. So I got some good insight from Christine, who said to me, 2 things. One, she asked me, were you breathing? Which I was breathing a little, but consistently through the whole thing, no. And second was, I told her, I was reciting my intentions, doing what I thought I should be doing. She said, yeah, but you have to let go of expectation. So what I figured out there was I was getting intention confused with expectation. At the outset, you think, hey, intention means like I'm focusing on my intentions, like these are the things I want from this experience. That was expectations. That wasn't working. But I was determined to take something out of this first nice experience. And, I thought about it a little bit that night, journaled it a little bit, thought about it the next day, listened to one or two podcasts that I had been aware of previously about other people's ayahuasca experiences, and trying to figure out, like, what do I possibly, where does my mind need to be different in this second ceremony, going into this second ceremony. One of the resonating things I heard was, the medicine gives you what you need, not what you want. So, I had that now going into night 2. So I was able to let go of expectation and to understand that it's got to be about, it's not going to be about what I want. I also made some more efforts that morning, the morning of day 2. I did take some time to meditate. I did have a little bit of a workout. I actually had a good meditation session in the morning, where when I finally did open my eyes and we were in the mountains and we did have sun that morning at least, everything was very vividly green, like a green and a white, which was actually great for a while. Anyway, so going into night 2, ayahuasca comes around. They did up the San Pedro, which is a cactus, which comes in the form of a paste that we do. Eat the paste, drink a tea, and then the ayahuasca comes around basically in a shot glass. That portion is my point, for those of you who don't know. Okay, so night 2, session 2 at the ayahuasca, looking into the fire, everyone's quiet, and kind of nothing's really coming. And then I do kind of see, like, the way the flames are flaming and the wood is sitting in the fire, I kind of see like this, what looks like the head of what you would call a demon or a monster, but very, very symmetric, tell you the truth, kind of like triangular, with little triangular red eyes. And I'm just like, okay, well, that's interesting. Come on, like, jump out of the fire. Where's my breakthrough? Come on, what am I gonna see? What's going down here? And then I realized that I'm doing that again. Like, I'm trying to push it, I'm trying to get something to happen, and I back off of that. And so at one point I decided, all right, like, I'm sitting in a chair, sitting in a low beach chair, put my head down like so, kind of like open my hands and kind of like start doing something like this. Just trying to create a different space, and it works out, let's say. I closed my eyes, I stayed there, and I could see my fingers moving through my eyelids, and I was doing this, doing that, and then I started, bringing in the breathing, deep inhales, deep exhales, and every time I exhaled, I would kind of open my hands some more and put my head down a little further, and exhale and open my hands more and put my head down a little further and a little further, with no rush. And I suddenly realized, I don't know if it was 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I suddenly realized, okay, what I see now in this space or place that I've created is I'm at the bottom of something, and my feet are right there. Like, my head has basically met my feet, and I realize I'm at the bottom of whatever I'm at. I also kind of realize that I'm suspended a little bit. So now I start going back up and up and up and up and up, and I'm reaching. I don't know if I'm out of frame in the camera right now, but I'm reaching my head so high. And I realize as I'm going back up that there's kind of like these sidewalls, let's say. And basically realize that I'm hanging in a cocoon. Now I can hear Steve to the right of me, and I can hear Barry to the right and Steve to the left. But there's like something between us. So now I'm in this cocoon, and I'm kind of like, all right, like, kind of have this sensation of kind of like being a caterpillar. So I know my eyes were closed, but I know that I was kind of like flowing like this, so I start trying to go higher and higher and higher and reaching my head. I don't stand up, and I'm not pushing on the chair with my hands, because what I'm also starting to feel is that these are kind of like the ends of my wings, if you will. And I'm trying to push through the top of this cocoon. I'm trying to get out, and I'm asking the medicine, tell me what I need to know. Tell me how to get out of here. Like, I want to blast off. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. I need to get out of this thing. and take off and have my breakthrough. And again, you know, the sense of time is actually a little lost. So I don't know if that was going on for like 2 minutes or if I was trying to break through that thing for like 15 or 20 minutes. But all of a sudden I realized I'm not meant to get out. If that's what she or it or the medicine wanted me to do, I would have gotten out. Like, you can't fight it is what I've come to understand about this. And from talking with people who've experienced it before, like you can't fight it. But I think the other thing that made me let go and stop trying to get out was the night before. So what was my takeaway from the night before? Takeaway from the night before was medicine gave me exactly what I needed. And that was, I just needed to be there, be focused. If I was there for 7 hours, focusing on the intricacies of the ceremony and focusing on that fire and focusing on being there, that's what I was meant to be there to do, because I've had a lot of trouble in my adult life being present. I've always put worth in moving forward and moving on and getting to the next thing. And what I've learned, which by the way, I've been working with a coach for a while too and working on a lot of this stuff, but what I've learned is I need to be more present and handle more of what's happening right now and what's in front of me, and I need to get off of this sense of needing to get to the next thing and go to the next place and accomplish the next thing, because if I look back now, has it served me? And the answer is no. You know, I always thought and I keep myself busy. I give myself too many things to do. I always thought that, you know, being busy meant I was succeeding. But I'm not. I mean, all that busyness has been a detriment to my, you know, parts of my business, even though my business is successful, but there's places and parts of it that could be much smoother and much more successful. And my relationships, I mean, you know, there's patterns that I found in 3 of my last 4 relationships that speak to some of these issues too. And I could go on and on about the lessons, because there are many. But so, you know, that the now, here, or nowhere really came into effect, like with this idea or this vision or understanding that I'm in this cocoon. And I know that I did not open my eyes until the last hour of the ceremony, which I believe ended at 7 a.m. So somewhere around midnight or 1 a.m., when my eyes closed and I started going into this world or this other consciousness or this experience with the medicine, my eyes were probably closed for about 6 hours. There's a point in a ceremony where they come around with water, which is, let's call it blessed, if you will, and everyone gets a sip from that mug. It's a metal bucket, a metal chalice. And I actually, you know, I can hear it coming around this side of the circle. And I started poking Barry a little bit, but I knew like Barry was having his experience, so I didn't really want to interrupt him. So I poked him lightly and said his name quietly like 3 times. And he later told me, oh, I did hear it when you were asking me, but I just thought it was something else. And I was like, Barry. And Barry didn't answer me, so I left it alone for a minute. But then I heard the cup coming closer, so I kind of poked him a little more and said his name a little louder. He's like, yeah, what's up? Barry, don't let the cup pass me. Don't let the water pass me. And it wasn't because I was thirsty. I just knew the water was, somehow I just had this understanding or knew that I was supposed to and needed to drink the water, and I didn't want the water to pass me. By the way, at that moment in time also, I don't clearly remember if I was still trying to get out of this cocoon. I don't think so, but I know that I was pushing my head back up against the back of the teepee. My right arm was on the arm of Barry's chair, my right hand, and my left hand was down like maybe on my chair or Steve's chair, and I was just pushing my head back into the teepee. But that position felt amazing. It felt really good. And I didn't want to move, so that's why, I just didn't want to open my eyes. I didn't want to leave the place I was in. I was so into to being present and in that space and that cocoon, I did not want to leave it. So I told Barry, put the cup in my hand. So they come around and they put the cup in my hand. I don't know who was serving it. I believe it was Kelly. I could see the cup shimmering from the fire, like through my eyelids. Like I could see the shape of the cup, and it was like glowing. And they put it in my hand over here, but I brought it in front of my face and I went to go drink it. And I say I could see it, but the handle was facing me, and the handle like hit me right in the nose, and I was like, oh, that's the handle. And Barry's like, yeah, that's how a cup works. Anyway, got my drink, passed it along. And there were also other moments of like, changing body position, like, coming back down here and kind of like grooving. And there's also a couple of songs that go with the ceremony and drum and similar to a maraca type thing. So there's also music, and when that music was in the ceremony or played in the ceremony, you remember, I'm feeling it, I'm grooving with it, loving it, and again being super present. And I don't know if Freddie Shaman at some point was actually, I know he was near me because I was actually sitting next to where he was sitting. I don't know if he particularly saw me and actually I'm sure you were distracted by that, so I took a moment to pause. I don't know if Freddie actually saw me and was kind of shaking something near or over my head, but I remember it sounding like a fluttering, like basically other butterflies like flying around me, let's say, because in the earlier part of this, I did have this sensation of being a caterpillar in a cocoon becoming a butterfly. But so that whole thing, by the way, talking about lessons about caterpillar in a cocoon and becoming a butterfly or a moth or whatever it may be, speaks clearly to my last intention, which was be a creator of things and self, evolve constantly without pause, be present now, here or nowhere. It speaks solidly to that, because always trying to get to the next thing or go to the next place or feel like I need to get somewhere, yet I can grow and evolve right here, right in this cocoon, and be here right now, and grow. And when that growth has completed, let's say, then I'll be leaving that cocoon, and then I'm ready to get out of there. Like, I was trying to get out because I wanted my breakthrough. I thought this was when it first, the sensation, the vision first started happening. That was just the start of it, and I was gonna break out of there, and I was gonna get my breakthrough moment. Like, the medicine was gonna give it to me. And apparently the medicine and Mother Ayahuasca have other plans for me, which obviously now beckons me to another ceremony. But I think I'm sure a lot of you more seasoned people will say, or at least know, that integration is very important. And I'm gonna start to look to integrate what I've learned and my lessons. And another thing that I've experienced, some of you again I'm sure know this, but those of you who have never done it, there's this level of understanding and like cohesiveness of all these things you know or have experienced. Like, all these things just come together and just start to make sense without words. It's not like I had some crazy trip where I saw some plant woman speaking to me and explaining the universe to me. Not at all. It wasn't super hallucinogenic, not in my experience, right? But the amount of understanding and the way it brought so many things together that I've either experienced in the past or have been working on for the last few months with my coach is incredible. And this connection to the earth or to plants is what you feel is incredible. And it said that, the medicine stays with you a couple of days after ceremony. And I didn't maybe necessarily feel that like on Sunday, because we finished up at 7, 8 a.m. on Sunday, or necessarily on Monday morning, but I can say, between Tuesday night, because I also had dinner last night with a couple old friends, one of which got me not introduced to the idea of participating in an ayahuasca ceremony, but got me hooked up in New York. And I can even say the connection to him just at the table and in our conversations with everyone else, and the understanding is even almost like him and I are connected, and obviously the things we say and share and converse about, him and I have such a similar understanding as compared to the other 3 people at the table. That's really cool. And I'm getting a little closer just to see if I can get the light a little better. But I, sitting at the table with these guys last night, and we're all 41, 42, and my buddy's just trying to get this divorce finalized. That's been an ongoing thing for 3 years. My other friend is officially divorced for about a year or 2, and he's got 2 kids, and my other friend seems to be struggling in this 2-year relationship. So sorry, B, if you take offense to that, but I mean, that's how it's coming across. And my other friend there, sitting across from me at the table, no names, I've definitely seen you happier. So, I have to say, like, I was sitting at this table, like, physically feeling really good and emotionally feeling really strong and feeling really enlightened. And this morning, even more so. Connection to self being one of my intentions. Again, having to sit in that cocoon and not break out and get to the next thing. The lesson being that got to be okay with me where I am right now, and I don't have to be on to the next thing, and I don't have to be something bigger or better for anybody else. Like, it's all about you. It's all about you. My coach would love this video right now. But I think thanks to him and the work I've been doing with him, was also a big preparation for getting a lot out of this ceremony. So yeah, I could go on, but it's, it'll be a lot of rambling, and what I may even do is do some kind of follow-ups to this video, see how they relate to some of the coaching work I've done, or some of my own insights. To tell you the truth, some of the things just keep coming right now. So whether that's the ayahuasca is still in me, whether that's my life experience and education all kind of culminating to what I've learned, I don't know. Another thing is, I'm not afraid to release this video for anyone to see, because that's the reason I'm making it. So I just, kind of got a big summer coming. I'm taking a little time off work because I've spent 14 years building my business and have been married to it, and have never really done a good job of setting time aside for myself, because I always felt like I needed to do this. This all comes operating in the context of fear, for fear of my business not being successful, or me not being successful as my father, for example. And instead of, I'm finally at a point where I don't operate in that context of fear anymore. I now look at things and operate in a context of success as opposed to fear. I mean, look, I was never consciously afraid that I wouldn't succeed or I wouldn't make it in the world, but I was operating that way. I always knew that I'd be fine doing whatever I do, but I have not done it nearly to my potential because of my mindset. So now we're just getting into other things, but it all relates, it all comes back. The medicine is was a great experience. And no, I didn't purge. Never even got nauseous. So I don't know if that's maybe something I will experience in the future, but that's it. I got my blue skies. I got the beach behind me. I'm in New York right now. Some of you know I've been out in Arizona for a while. Thank you, Freddie and Kelly, and for making it possible for me and everyone else that was there to gain something from the experience. And I'm sure we'll see you again. So everybody have a great day. See you soon.